الإسلام. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا مولانا محمد وعلى سيدنا مولانا محمد وبارك وسلم. ربنا زدنا علما وارزقنا فهما. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, we send abundant blessings and salutations upon the last and final Prophet Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make it easy for us, not to make it difficult. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us knowledge and to grant us understanding. Ameen, ameen. Inshallah, to commence this beautiful gathering, I will call upon one of our beginning students of our maktab at Warrenville Masjid and Learning Center, and other than Brother Afsar Ramsaruk, who will make the opening dua for us, inshallah.
Salam.
Once again, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Allah, bless the family, Allah, bless the youth, Allah, bless the Jannah. Amen.
Shukran jazeelan, Brother Afsar. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept your supplication and prayer. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it as a means for betterment for you in this world and in the after. Ameen, ameen. Like with everything with Islam, with this beautiful religion, everything begins with the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And to do so, I had to call upon a student of mine from Ashraf Boys College who's actually writing the CSEC exam at this moment. I had to call upon Brother Amir to render for us some verses from the Holy Quran, inshallah ta'ala. Accept your recitation of the Quran Kareem. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it as a means for blessings for you and your family in this world and in the hereafter. Ameen, thumma ameen. After remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala it is the custom of the Muslims to remember the last and final Prophet Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Most High, as He Himself ascribes the name Muhammad to His name. So when you bear testimony, when you say kalima tayyiba, what do you say? La ilaha illallah. Say it. La ilaha illallah. Whose name are you ascribing to it? The last and final messenger of God, Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And to render some lines of poetry, some couplets in the praise of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, or some lines of qasida, I'd like to call upon a level 1 student at our maktab, inshaAllah ta'ala, and other than Brother Zakim, inshaAllah.
أشرقت نفسي بنور من فؤادي حينما رددت يا رب العباد وانتشت روحي وصار الدم يجري يا إلهي قد بقلبي للرشاد أشرقت نفسي بنور من فؤادي حينما رددت يا رب العباد وانتشت روحي وصار الدم يجري يا إلهي قد بقلبي للرشاد سيد المرسلين هيتر مرتبى يا نبي مصطفى يا نبي مصطفى. السلام عليكم.
Shukran jazeelan, Brother Zakim. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless your parents. Inshallah ta'ala, ameen. To continue to sing the praises of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and the praise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ameen, thumma ameen. My dear esteemed gathering, my beloved youth, my beloved panelists, for indeed we are all assembled and gathered here to have few discussions concerning the youth of our modern era, concerning the children of this modern era, some of the outcomes, some of the trials, some of the tests and the battles that which we face. And inshallah ta'ala, we'll be hearing from our panelists different topics of discussion. And inshallah, at the ending of it, we'll also have an open discussion to hear some of your feedbacks. And what do you think, what we can bring about for the youths, specifically the Muslim youths in our society and in our communities, inshallah ta'ala. And the first person I have to call upon is none other than a beloved sister to me. She had participated in some of the lectures at the Hajj Rukni Institute of Islamic Studies. She is a teacher for the past 8 years. And alhamdulillah, she will be dealing upon the topic of coping mechanisms for our children. And this person and personality I have to call upon is none other than Karina Ramos, inshallah ta'ala.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Now, I was of the opinion that I was going last, so this is a little bit of a shock. And I also anticipated a much younger crowd. So as Maulana said, my name is Karina. I have been a teacher for the past 8 years, and I'm currently a teacher at the on how you can manage the many stressful emotions that you face on a day-to-day basis. Now, some of these stressful emotions can be things like frustration, sadness, anger, depression, and it is something that's really plaguing the lives of youths in our society today. Now, yes, I'm here to talk to you, but I also want you to talk to me. Alright, so I don't feel so nervous. What are some things that really makes you feel stressed out, frustrated, things like that? Does anybody want to share maybe? One of the younger ones? School. I agree. Anyone else? Alright, so I take your silence as that you all are reflecting. So, yes, so there are many things that makes us feel, this overwhelming emotion. As brother said there, school is just one. However, you are not alone, and that's one thing that I want you all to know. The many emotions that you feel, you are not alone. There are so many persons around the world right now that's going through that. And it's perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine to feel that way. However, what is not fine is when we allow these stressful and negative emotions to control us rather than us controlling these emotions. So I'm going to say that again. What is not fine is when we allow these emotions to control us and not have us control these emotions. Because what happens is that these negative feelings, it's like a disease. It starts to plague us. It starts to attack our mind and our bodies and makes us do things and say things that we not only end up regretting, but things that we can't take back. Things that may end up hurting ourselves or hurting others. Now, I have a very recent example of this. I'm not sure how many of you all would have looked at the news in recent times and saw the incident that took place in secondary school in Guyana, where a young lady from the, I believe it was the Masjid secondary school, she would have set her dorm on fire. And for the younger ones, if you all don't know what a dorm is, it's a room or a place where students, they live, right, once they attend that school. So this young lady proceeded to set her dorm on fire. Now the big question is, why? Why would she have done something like that? So according to the reports, it was because one of her teachers again, one of her teachers caught her doing something that she was not supposed to do and took away her phone. And God forbid, we take away the phone of a young person in society these days. Because this young lady was so overcome with anger that she did something that she's not only going to regret for the rest of her life, but she did something that also ended up harming others. She took the lives of 19 other students who resided at that dorm. And I mention that today because we don't understand how important it is for us to really learn to control these strong emotions that happens, within us. Sometimes anger overcomes us or depression, and we do things that, again, we end up regretting. So that is my task here tonight, and it's to share some coping mechanisms that can help you really to deal with these stresses. Now, again, I anticipated a much younger crowd, but inshallah, we will take some fragments away from this tonight. So, let's get into it. I have identified a few steps, or a very short 3-step system that I like to call the traffic light system. Now, the teacher in me would not have been accomplished if I hadn't done something that I can show, right? So I call it the traffic light system. Now, I am sure everybody here knows what a traffic light is. Anybody here don't know what a traffic light is? Younger ones? Alright, good. So what are the colors in a traffic light? And do you know what the colors on the traffic light stand for? What does the red stand for? To stop. What does the yellow or the amber light stand for? Now in Trinidad, this is what we're supposed to do. Even myself. We need to slow down, right? But we don't always do that, but that is what the light stands for. And what about the green? To go. So that is essentially the idea behind the traffic light system. So sometimes we feel that emotion. Sometimes like for the younger ones, you're studying. You have something that you're seeing in front of you, and no way you can figure out this. You can't even remember your teacher teaching that. Not so? Right. Or somebody does something, and as the much older person here tonight, sometimes your spouse do something, and you're so vexed. What is the first approach? You stop. Stop and identify. Identify how you are really feeling. Because sometimes what can happen is you think you're mad, you think you're vexed. But in actuality, you're really just disappointed. Or you're really hurt by whatever the situation may be. So the first thing that I want you all to do when you see when you are faced with these emotions is to stop. Stop and really think about what it is or how it is you really feel. Now, for my secondary school children here, when you stop and you think about how you feel, so let's just say my boy at the corner there, he said, all right. Now, I'm not a little bit, so I believe this. He says, all right, this situation angered me. I real vexed. So tomorrow when I go in school, the person who got me vexed, that's it. He goes to collect some hand. That is not the point of the traffic light system. I see him smiling and nodding here agreeing, but no, that is not how this traffic light system is going to work. When you stop and you identify how you are really feeling at that point in time, you move to the next step. Before you react and do something you regret, you slow down. Right? So you stop, think about how you feel, you slow down. Right? Stop and identify how you feel and slow down and think. What are you thinking about? You are thinking about the positive things that you can do at that point in time to make yourself feel better. And notice my key word there, the positive thing that you can do. Positive being the key word that you can do to make yourself feel better. And once you've identified that, you go ahead and you act on that. Right? So you go ahead and you do whatever it is that will make you feel better in that point in time. Now, being able to positively deal with your emotions takes a lot of self-discipline. And it is easier said than done. We all know it. But, if you continue at least to try practicing this 3-step system, eventually it will become a habit. And you will realize how differently your life goes. You will realize yourself thinking over situations. You find yourself, making better decisions. Now, in the yellow stage, or the amber stage where you need to slow down and think, and you have to think about the positive things that make you feel better, and you're not too sure what are some examples of these things, well, let me just give you some examples. You can try some active methods, things like kicking a ball, going for a ride, going for a run, going for a swim, anything that is going to keep your body active and your mind away from what is really making you feel like this. If you're not active, you can try some relaxing methods. Things like taking deep breaths. So you take your time, you slowly breathe in, and then you slowly exhale. That is one relaxing method. Or you can even try a cupping system. No, not cupping people. Cupping your palms, your fists together, tighten it and release. Tighten it and release. Right? And what that does is it helps you to really get rid of tension in your body. You can try, if you don't like those methods, you can maybe try, especially for the younger ones, being creative, doing something like drawing a picture with how you feel. Art is something, it's a big self-expression, that is something that you can do. Or even even try some social methods like going out with a friend, talking to a friend. If you have permission, go to the mall. For the older ones, speak to someone that you trust. And of course, if there's ever a time you feel that there's no one you can talk to, your greatest support and your greatest friend is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Take yourself to a quiet corner. And this, again, I may sound like, it's very simple, but this can apply to even the adults. Because we know how we feel when something angers us, and our first response is to say something back or to do something, right? But again, you stop and try one of these methods. You talk to Allah, take yourself to a quiet corner, let Allah know what is it that is really bothering you. Let Him know how you feel. Ask Him to give you that mental clarity, right? So again, just to reiterate, remember, to deal with these strong emotions and to make yourself feel better, try the 3-step system. You stop, identify how you really feel, you slow down, and think about what is really going to make you feel better and positive things that are going to make you feel better. Because nobody knows you better than you, except God. And then you go ahead and you take action. Alright, so that concludes my very short speech for tonight, but before I end, I see a lot of parents accompanying their children here tonight, and I would just like to leave you all with a brief note. In Caribbean households, talking about feelings and talking about emotions is such a taboo topic. Sometimes if your child comes and says, Mom, I'm real frustrated, the first thing you're ready to say is, what are you frustrated for? What you have to be frustrated about? All the life too easy. So all the young children, all the life too easy. I'm sure you haven't said it as a parent, you would have heard it growing up. Not so? Not so? Alright. So, in Caribbean households, again, we have grown up, our generation would have grown up hearing these toxic sayings, and it really has impacted negatively in our lives and the way that we choose to raise our children. But we can do better for our children. We can create a safe space for them to explore their influx of emotions in a healthy way. You are the models in your home. You are the ones that your children would look up to. And you may see these little 3-step systems, but in some way, I do hope that you put it into practice. And at least try to help yourselves to regulate your own emotions, so that when your child looks at you and they see how you handle anger and how you handle sadness and depression, they know exactly what to do when they themselves are faced with these adversities. Alright, so thank you all for listening to me tonight, and I do hope that, again, we all can take some little fragment of what was said here tonight. Inshallah. Assalamu
Allah, shukran jazeelan, Sister Karina. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you tremendously for your traffic light. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it as a means for us to understand this act which has been shown on. And so indeed, what has been these fragments that you left behind, I just want to mention it specifically for our youth here as well. Not only for our youth who are in the gathering, but also even for the panelists as well. Some of the coping mechanisms which she mentioned was that of swimming. And swimming is actually a sunnah sport of the Prophet ﷺ. So sometimes when you feel fed up with life, take a swim in the river, jump in the rapids, alright? So another coping mechanism as well which we can use as youths which is known as archery, which is also a prophetic tradition of the Prophet ﷺ. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless Sister Karina. I know you have taken a lot of effort to put this into action as well. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless you tremendously. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless her. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless her husband as well. And whom her husband is actually a childhood friend of mine, and he's sitting there. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for him. Ameen. Ameen. So now inshallah, The next person and personality I to call upon is also a level 1 student at our maktab here at Warrenville Masjid and Learning Center. And this person is actually covering for one of our sisters, Safiya Ali, who is absent due to an illness. Allah grants her swift recovery. And she's actually a 4th-year student of law at the University of the West Indies. But this person is actually covering for her is actually a first-year student of law at the University of the West Indies. So inshallah, we call upon Sadiqa Hussein, inshallah, to come and give her this course, inshallah.
Life as we know it is never a smooth sail. It presents us with countless obstacles and detours that test our determination. As students, we are no strangers to such turmoil. We face rigorous coursework, demanding deadlines, and constant pressure to perform. However, it is during these trying times that our true determination comes to light. Determination is a quality that resides deep within us, waiting to be awakened when we face adversity. It is the unwavering belief that we can overcome any obstacle, no matter how impossible it may seem. It is the driving force that pushes us to go that extra mile, staying up late studying, and to keep pushing forward, even when we feel like giving up. But how do we cultivate this determination and harness this power? I'm sure that most, if not all, the students present tonight, but as well as the parents, will recall reciting the dua, Rabbi Zidni Ilma. O Allah, please increase me in knowledge. Before or during our studies, especially when we are studying late nights and nothing seems to stick. But this dua goes beyond just IQ. It's asking Allah for personal growth, which could include knowledge to grow spiritually, intellectually, and financially. Personal development is the key to living this life fully and for achieving Jannah. All growth must come from within. It's an internal gain. Only the individual trials of life, or he or she may reject and possibly affect the circle of people around them. It does not mean that when we accept the harsh realities of being anxious, sorrowful, and feeling overwhelmed, that we are not entitled to these feelings. This is a misconception. It is natural to have these feelings when in distress, but try not to be consumed by these emotions. Because once consumed, individual tumbles down a slippery slope. And if no one is there to prevent you from falling further, what then? Who is there to rely on? Who else if not for Allah? In times where I have felt so overwhelmed with exams, or simply taking on too many extracurricular courses, I put my trust in Allah. In the Quran, it is mentioned that there are people who would ride their ships into the sea. They would be overwhelmed by a storm, and And when all seemed lost, they would turn to Allah as the creator of the world to aid them. Surah Al-Luqman, verses 31, chapters 31 to 32. But we must first help ourselves. First and foremost, we must set clear goals for ourselves. By defining what we wish to achieve, we create a roadmap that guides us through the challenges that lie ahead. These goals act as a beacon of hope during difficult times, reminding us of the purpose behind our hard work. Secondly, we must maintain a positive mindset. It is all too easy to succumb to negativity and self-doubt when faced with obstacles. However, by embracing optimism, we open ourselves up to the possibilities of growth and success. Instead of viewing setbacks as failures, we should see them as opportunities for learning and improvement. A positive mindset fuels our determination, giving us the resilience needed to push through even the toughest of times. Within this positivity, us Muslims are taught to have trust in Allah's wisdom and plan. As we know, everything happens according to Allah's will, and that He is always in control. This belief can provide comfort and strength during turbulent times as students. Muslims are encouraged to turn to Allah in prayer and seek His guidance and support. So if there is perhaps a subject you may have failed, or a career path you wanted to follow, trust in Allah, trust in His plan. Have trust in yourself. Turmoil or challenges faced as students can be seen as tests from Allah, and Muslims are encouraged to remain steadfast in their faith and continue striving to overcome such obstacles. The Quran often emphasizes the importance of patience and perseverance in face of adversity. Additionally, seeking support from others is crucial on our journey. We must surround ourselves with individuals who believe in us, inspire us, and who are willing to lend a helping hand when we stumble. Whether it be friends, family, or mentors, their encouragement and guidance provide the much needed strength to overcome challenges. Remember, we are never alone in our struggles, and asking for help is not a sign of weakness, but rather it is a display of courage and determination. Islam emphasizes the importance of balance and moderation in all aspects of life. As students and as Muslims in general, we are encouraged to maintain a balance between our academic pursuits, religious obligations, and personal well-being. Balancing academic responsibilities with spiritual practices, physical health, and social interactions can help students navigate turmoil more effectively. To the children who struggle as students, my advice is simple yet powerful. Embrace curiosity and the joy of living. Discover what ignites your passion and let it fuel your determination. Remember that mistakes are stepping stones and setbacks are not permanent. Believe in yourself and never be afraid to ask for help. With hard work, perseverance, and a thirst for knowledge, you can overcome any obstacle that comes your way. To the adults who may find themselves struggling as students, my message is equally important. It is never too late to pursue your dreams and further your education. Embrace your determination and tap into the resilience that lies within you. Remember that age is just a number, and your potential is limitless. Seek support from your peers and be proud of the example you set for the younger generation. You are living proof that determination knows no boundaries. In conclusion, my fellow students, adults, and children, let us face our trials with unwavering determination. Let us stay focused on our goals, maintain a positive mindset, and seek determination when needed. Remember that our journeys are not defined by the turmoil we face, but rather by how we overcome it. Thank you all for your time and attention. It was my pleasure to impart some of my time and knowledge to help you all, and I hope you all have a safe journey. I will leave you with
Allah will thereby make easy for him a path to paradise. Assalamu alaikum.
Allah, shukran jazilan, Sister Sadika. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless your parents. Ameen thumma ameen. So again, the topic of discussion, which was determination in times of turmoil. And the fragments as which we can receive from what has just been said is that we can take steadfastness and patience when we are going through turmoil, whether it be in our school, whether it be whatever problem we are having at home, or whatever the trial may be, but through steadfastness and patience, we can overcome those turmoils. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless our sisters, Sister Siddiqa Hussein. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless Sister Safiya Ali as well. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant her swift recovery. Ameen. Ameen. Just one announcement, inshallah. As you all know, the adhan will call at 7:35. But inshallah, just for tonight, the adhan will just be a little bit delayed, inshallah. So bear with us, inshallah. Next upon, this person and personality is a close friend of mine. He's a colleague of mine. He's the director of Usratul Muslimin Association. He was a former imam at the Diamond Village Masjid at San Fernando. He holds a BSc in Islamic knowledge, graduated from South Africa University, also known as Darul Uloom Pretoria, which is the capital of South Africa. And this person and personality I have to call upon is none other than Maulana Ibrahim Jaitanuni, who will give us a discourse, a message concerning gangsterism and Islam. As you all know, we live in a society where the Muslims, or some of us, we think that because we are a Muslim, we are a gangster automatically. So inshallah, I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to open our ears and open our hearts for this pouring message, inshallah. Tafaddal mashkura.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. All praises to Allah, the Lord of the universe. Salatu wa salamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursaleen. Salutations and peace upon the best of prophets and messengers, Nabiyuna Muhammad, our prophet, our leader, the intercessor for the sinners and all of the nations of the day, on the day of judgment, Nabiyuna Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So my topic tonight, or my task tonight, is to differentiate between someone who is recognized to be a Muslim and someone who calls himself, or for some reason or the other, feels himself to be a gangster. That these two different ways of life can never be in one entity, can never be in one personality, and can never be upon one direction. With this, I use the verse that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states in the Holy Quran about the dunya. He says, "I'lamu, O mankind, you should know, annama al-hayat al-dunya, that the life of this world, la'ibun wa lahwun, translated as play and nonsense." So some of the ulama would translate la'ibun and lahwun. Firstly, these two words are very similar. So la'ibun, which is translated as play in English, is that entertainment that somebody thinks or somebody does, and he gets a little benefit from it, but the benefit is worldly. And lahwun, which is translated as nonsense, is something that somebody uses for entertainment, but in the end result, there is no benefit even in this world, and it disturbs him from the akhirah. So, being a Muslim, we understand that when it comes to entertainment, we try our best to refrain from it. We know sometimes in the sayings of the Prophet ﷺ, amongst the companions, they would talk about what is known to be tadayu'at. And tadayu'at is actually something that passes time without giving the person barakah and blessings, but it is not prohibited. So sometimes as humans, we indulge in things that is not necessarily a means for us to get blessings, but is also not a means for us to get sin. So sometimes it's possible to do like this. But we know that we do not indulge in such things for long periods of time, or we still know that our goal is to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And a Muslim is translated as somebody who submits to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the definition of somebody who is a gangster is somebody who rebels. So these are two opposite people with two completely opposite definitions. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continues after saying na'ibun wa lahun. He says, what the fakhrun. So the life of this world is about the fakhrun. The fakhrun translated as showing off. You have things, he says, fil amwal wal awlad, with wealth and with even having children. So sometimes to have more children, is a type of tafakhur and something to show off on. And this was exemplified in the Holy Quran when Yaqub firstly sent his sons. As we know that Yaqub had a lot of sons. And when he sent the sons to Misr and Egypt, he advised them to enter from different doors. Because when the people of Egypt see so much children for one person, they can become jealous because they don't have so much children. And a Muslim knows that despite what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us, we don't show off about it. We don't boast about it. We know this is a fadl and a virtue, a blessing from Allah. And just like how we have it, one moment, it can be taken away another moment. Whilst a person who has that concept or believes himself to be a gangster or a rebel, he likes showing off. Actually, he wears clothing and jewelry that makes him feel better. And people also recognize him to be better or different than other people. And just like this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he talks about the life of the world in a different verse. And specifically the ayat and the verses where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the dunya, we get to understand the difference in character of somebody who submits to the will of Allah and somebody who rebels from a system or a law. And when we go further into understanding a Muslim and on the other hand understanding a gangster from the Holy Quran, we understand that there are places in the Holy Quran that somebody who's a gangster is referred. And it is indeed through the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we can recognize or see these different places. Because as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَمَا رَبٍ وَلَا يَابِسٍ, there is nothing wet or even dry except that it is in the Holy Quran. So there are different ways for us to extract, realize and notice such. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, firstly we go when mankind was supposed to be created. And Allah commanded Iblis to prostrate to Adam. Firstly, he was not known to be shaitan. But when he rejected, as Allah says in the Quran, Abba was takbara. He rejected and he showed pride. And then he became amongst the disbelievers. So after this, he was known to be shaitan. So what is the definition of shaitan? Is a taghi, somebody who rebels, somebody who rejects who does not accept to listen to that which is given to him by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala firstly. This is what made him shaitan. And similar to the definition of shaitan, we understand the definition of even the lifestyle of a gangster. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks in different places about shaitan, the sifat and the qualities of shaitan, the way he would carry about, and the way this word came into existence, we understand that there's a lot of similar qualities to shaitan and a gangster. Because just like that, somebody who accepts to be such rebels, turns away from a specific law, from a specific order, and he does what he feels to do best. And this is what made Iblis shaitan. So we need to understand as Muslims that these two personalities are different. These two names can never be in one person. These two entities can never be one entity. And this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala confirms for us in the Holy Quran. And the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, Al-Muslimu man salim al-Muslimun bilisanihi wa yadihi. A Muslim is someone who causes peace to another Muslim with his hand and his tongue. And somebody who claims to be a gangster, he causes harm with his hand and his tongue. So in no way can these two people ever be one. There is no way that a Muslim can ever be a gangster. And there is no way that a gangster can ever be a Muslim. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us as Muslims to understand who we are as a people and to stay away from the different names, the different qualities that are known by society and even by the Quran to be amongst the people who reject or rebel from any system or any law. وأقول قولي هذا, and I say these words, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive me if I made any mistake in my speech, and forgive all of us who are gathered here. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
شكرا جزيلا مولانا إبراهيم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us amongst those who listen to what is being said and act upon it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us amongst those who realize that even amongst the youth, when we listen to all these Skilly Wang and what is his name, Skilly Bang, and can't tell all these type of guys, we think to ourselves, you know what? Yeah, this is how we want to be. You know, we grew up like this, watching the music videos. But as you all just heard, that there is no, if a person is a Muslim, he can never have any lifestyle as being a gangster. And I don't know, as amongst the youth today, maybe the panelists, they know that on social media there is a whole set of things about this guy Gabriel. Maybe you all heard about that, so you know, this used to know it. Alright, they laughed at that. I mean, he knows everything. Alright? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for us to understand, to be cognizant of this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us as youths. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us as Muslims specifically. Ameen, ameen. So inshallah, one of our panelists, she has to leave, so we granted the permission to leave, Sister Karina, inshallah. Again, we thank you for coming and taking part. I know it's not what you've been expecting, but inshallah, next time, inshallah, due to the impact that we had today, tonight, this evening, inshallah, for the next format, it will be more impactful and more rewarding, inshallah. Shukran jazeelan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala take you and your husband will say to you, inshallah. And the next person and personality I have to call upon is a close friend of mine, close acquaintance. I know his father very well. He's originally from the Penal Ashajamat, and alhamdulillah now he's actually a resident in Boca. Now inshallah you'll see him here every day now inshallah. Alright? So this person and personality, he has an MBBS, meaning he is a doctor. He also has a PG diploma in emergency medicine, correct? And this person and personality to call upon is none other than Dr. Alim Shakur, inshallah, to give us his part of this forum, inshallah, to discuss with us his part, inshallah ta'ala.
Imam said, my name is Alim Shakur, and I'm a doctor in the emergency department, and just was asked to come and give a little talk about some of my reflections as a doctor as well as being a Muslim. So this is going to be very short and very informal, not too serious. So the first question we ask, how do you become a doctor? Well, we must realize that to become a doctor, to become a businessman, to become a policeman, to become anything we want to be, that in itself is a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we must recognize this and put our trust in Allah. And in our lives, in everything we do, Islam must be the base in our lives. We must have the foundation of Islam, our religion, and upon that, then we can build anything else that we have to do. So, if Islam is base, that means we must follow Islam. And we must do the things that we are commanded to. We must hold on to the practices that are far upon us and fulfill the rights of Islam upon us. So after Iman, the second thing after Iman is Salah. You have to say a prayers, right? And the Imam just announced that we have to another day for the Adhan. So let's reflect about the Adhan. We hear this every day, 5 times a day, every mosque throughout the world, Adhan, same thing. So let us think about the Adhan. Now Allah could have said anything in the Adhan. When the call to prayer was made, it could have been anything. But the Adhan is very specific. So we should think about the words in the Adhan. So let's think about just 2 lines, very easy. Hayya ala salah, hayya ala falah. These two come next to each other. So the first one, hayya ala salah, rush or hurry to salah or to pray. And right next to it, we rush or we hurry to success. So we can see from that salah and success come hand in hand. So success is right after prayer. So these two things must come together. We can't be looking for success. We can't want to be a doctor. We want to be a businessman. We want to be whatever we want to be. But we forget salah. Then we have no real success. So the first point, salah and success come together. And okay, so we established our salah. We put our hands up after we make dua, and that's it. You see certificate coming down. Mashallah, you're a doctor now. Mashallah, you pass all the exams. No, it's not that easy, right? We have to put a little bit of effort. So on top of putting our trust in Allah, establishing our faith, then we have to take some action to achieve our goal, to get to our ambition. And let's reflect on a little story. Everybody, most of us know the story of Prophet Musa alayhi salam or Prophet Moses, right? Very famous story. And the most famous part in this story is when he got to the Red Sea. And Allah instructed him to strike the water, and a path was made for him and his people. So, being a prophet, of course, he had belief in Allah. And why did Allah instruct him to, strike the water? Allah could have just said, okay, I open up the water and you go ahead. But on top of having this belief in Allah, there was some action that we had to take, some little effort that we had to do, which was striking the water. So if we put our trust and we do whatever little steps we have to do, then our path will become clear for us. And then we can be successful that we want to achieve. Now, what can I learn, or what did I learn from being a doctor that I can tell you? Well, the first thing is that you have the ability to help others. And you can make an direct impact on people's lives. And not only as a doctor, but just as a general human, we interact with each other. We interact with our families, our friends, strangers. So we must interact in a way that we have a positive impact wherever we go. And Abdullah ibn Amr reported a hadith. He reported that the Masjid of Allah said that the merciful will be shown mercy by the most merciful. So the merciful, meaning us, if we are merciful, we will be shown mercy by the one who is most merciful, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the hadith continues, and it says, be merciful to those on earth, and the one in the heavens will have mercy upon you. So in all our interactions, we must be merciful, we must be gracious, we must be kind, we must be humble, no matter what we do. Throughout our lives, we must be merciful and have a positive impact on all those around us. You don't need to be a doctor to have a positive impact on those around us. Another thing that we can learn being a doctor, of course, is the importance of health. The body is a fascinating thing, and the way it works, we always learn it, we always get more, doing more research, So we must appreciate our health, especially as youth. Something we don't really consider. You're young, you're full of energy. And some of the not so young guys may tell us, that might change. And we can see around us, we might have some relatives who may not be in such health. And even being here in the mosque today is a blessing. There are a lot of people in the mosque who couldn't even make it and they wish they could come out here. So there is the hadith, the famous hadith, make use of 5 before 5. I won't go to the whole hadith, I'll just mention a little bit. So one of the things is to make use of your health before sickness comes. You know, that's a message for all of us, to make use of it before it's too late. So while we can use our energies in the mosque, use our energies to come out to the mosque and be a participant here. And another part of the hadith is to make use of your youth before old age. Yeah? Most of us are young, and we will get old inshallah. So make use of the youth before the old age. And on that note, I would like to encourage all of us here to utilize your youth, you know. Don't waste it, or don't think that Islam or your religion is only for when you become older. No, now is the time that you have to establish your Islam. Now is the time that you have to learn. Now is the time you have to come to Maktab. Now is the time that you come to your lectures. And now is the time that you become a Muslim, not later on. Later on it's too late. Yeah? So, another hadith I want to share with you, again related in Tirmidhi. He does not, the Prophet ﷺ has said, he does not belong to us, meaning that he's not a Muslim who does not show mercy to the youth and who does not give respect to the elders. So in it, we have two messages here. One, for the youth, we have to respect the elders. And secondly, for the elders, we have to be merciful to the youth. No, we can't be harsh to them. We have to give them a chance. We have to encourage them because they are the future. And alhamdulillah, in this masjid specifically, we have an imam who himself is a youth. And he's very encouraging to the youth. This whole event here was to encourage the youth. So I want to encourage all of us, you know, make use of this. We have an imam here. Come and talk to him. Let him know. Speak to him about your opinions or your ideas. Things that you want to see, things that you're considering you as a youth, you know. Let the imam know. Get involved in the masjid and work with the elders, you know. We can have a better community. So it's not just to be a better Muslim or to learn about Islam, but you have to integrate and be a part of the community. So again, alhamdulillah, it's a wonderful initiative here by the imam. I encourage all of us to continue working with him and cooperating with him, inshallah. May Allah forgive me and bless you, and may Allah make it beneficial for us. And assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you and your beloved wife, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless your parents. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for you in this world and in the after. So just some fragments. Remember, all of these are just fragments for you, not only the children, not only the youths, but also the adults, the young adults. That he mentioned an important hadith and two pertinent points he reminded of is that take care of your youth before you reach old age. It's very important, and this is why we have this forum here tonight. But where are our youth? Sometimes we as Muslims, as parents, we try to hide for our children. We try to make excuses for our kids. Where they should be, you don't want to send them. But when it comes to the malls, the cinemas, when it comes to even extracurricular activities outside the masjid, you're going to find a way to send them there. The Prophet ﷺ said, what? Give true evaluation of your youth, because before you reach old age, when you're crippled or when you can't move your knee, you can't walk up the step, how are you going to make the most of it? Ask Aunt Sister Baksh in the back, she'll tell you. She's laughing there at you guys. Ask those who are older the type of struggles they have to go to the masjid. And they are eager to go, but because of their old age, they can't. But each one of you are young. Those who are present, those who are viewing, you have children, you have grandchildren. This is the place for them to be. This is the place for them to recreate themselves, redefine themselves. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes us amongst those who become cognizant of our youth before we reach that old age. Ameen thumma ameen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless Brother Ali with this significant and beautiful advice. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it as a means for us to act upon it and to implement it, inshaAllah ta'ala. Ameen thumma ameen. Last but not least, this person and personality that I'm about to call upon is very beloved to me. And this person and personality, she has a Master of Science in international relations. And this person and personality, you know, she's at my side most of the time. Alhamdulillah, most of the time. Alright? So Alhamdulillah, she's there at my side all the time. And this person I have to call upon is none other than my beloved wife, Sister Farah Hassan, who will be giving us some fragments, who will be giving us some words specifically directing to our sisters. Even though not much of our sisters came out tonight, but our viewers, our mothers, our aunties, our grandmothers, our cousins who are females who are viewing, those who are here present, they can take it back to them, inshallah, which is the impact of young women, the impact of women in the modern era today, inshallah. So to call upon Sister Father, inshallah.
Respected Imam, respected panelists, brothers, sisters, our beloved youth, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah be pleased with us all. So my selected topic for this evening, as my husband mentioned, was to focus specifically on women in this modern era. When we think of modern society, what do we envision? What do we think of? We think of technology. We think of globalization. We think of we're living in the age of information, basically, right? And when we think of what a woman is, what do we think of? And in a different setting, when if you ask this question, some of the males might sort of stand up and say, I identify as a woman, and all these sort of things. No. What a woman is. A woman is actually a multitude of different things. You can think of a million different things of what a woman is. Long ago, women were traditionally known and seen as the homemakers. But today now, while some women still hold that role, we have women who pursue a multitude of different paths in their lives. We have doctors, we have lawyers, we have artists, entrepreneurs, we have, the list goes on and on and on, even still homemakers as well. Nothing is wrong with that. Each of these roles consists of their own specific individual skill sets, all very important in society today. Because a woman is whatever she decides to be, and I would like every woman here to remember that. A woman is whatever you decide to be. We may not have physical strength, we may not have, well, physical strength as the men have, but we have knowledge, and we can decide what we want to be in society. So there are two specific things that I'd like to touch on today. The first is quite simple, which is empowering ourselves while utilizing the tools that are available to us right now. And as I stated before, we live in an age of information, right? It is readily available to us at all times. As the sister who would have left, Ms. Ramos would have mentioned, you take away somebody's smartphone, they're going to go crazy, right? Our smartphones are in our hands at all times. How do we use it? Sometimes we use it by spending hours and hours and hours on Facebook, on TikTok, on Instagram. But how about we use that for something more positive? So we actually have Google, we have the internet, we have YouTube. Let's use those things. We also have free tertiary education in Trinidad and Tobago. So what about if we choose to use those things to further ourselves and our knowledge? Even if you do not choose to further or pursue a path in tertiary level education, which is quite fine, perhaps you possess a talent, perhaps you possess a skill that you can hone in on. Recently, the past few years, what I've noticed with COVID especially, what we would have noticed is that a lot of businesses, a lot of side businesses started to come up and progress on Facebook and on Instagram with women who are using their skills and their talents. So you want to buy a cake for a birthday party, you could go on and get beautiful cakes. We are using our talents. Cake baking, event coordinating, party decorating, photographers, the list goes on as well. Do not limit yourself whatsoever. Use social media to not just learn via YouTube, via free articles, wherever, but to also market and advertise your products, your skills, and your services. This is what brings me to my second point. Again, when we open Instagram and when we open TikTok and all of these apps, what do we see? One of the most common things that you're going to see is almost every female is or wants to be an influencer, right? Nothing is wrong with that, but we need to know about the limits. And wanting to be an influencer so badly, we sometimes see them exposing themselves in not so nice ways, right? In order to gain popularity, because this is what is getting likes, this is what we get popularity and followers and whatnot, right? I've heard even stories from some women who claim that they're making a lot of money off of, I don't know if you know, OnlyFans and other similar platforms where people pay you and you end up exposing yourself in multiple different ways, right? So we also still have to be careful and wary of this. It is therefore pertinent as young women and as young ladies in society to maintain our morals, our values, and how does Islam do this for us? To maintain your deen, to hold fast to our deen. Do not compromise out yourself for any job, for any men, for popularity, but rather focus again on your knowledge. Unfortunately though, no matter how much we have evolved as a society, the sad reality is, if you look on the news, you look at Express, everything, we still see that some women are being mistreated. We see domestic violence against women. We see that there's a wage gap in workplaces still today where some women make less money than men for the same job. Women are being overly sexualized and groomed to believe that that is what sells online. So first and foremost, I'd like to reiterate, put your deen first, as this is what will lead you into following your dreams in a halal manner and avoid doing it in a haram way. Educate yourselves regardless of what path you choose in life. If you want to pursue the career path, if you want to be a stay-at-home mom, it does not matter. Still find a way to educate yourself and take that forward with you. I'll close with a reminder that the Prophet ﷺ also advised us that seeking knowledge is incumbent upon females as it is also incumbent upon men, upon males. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
So alhamdulillah, we come to the closing. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless Sister Farah immensely. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless her family. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue to increase her in knowledge. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make her a means for her and her family to enter paradise. Ameen, ameen. So from that, which is taken, one of the important and relevant aspect for women, specifically sisters, which can be derived from that topic, is that to hold one firm to the religion. Look at how the woman at the time of the Prophet ﷺ carry about themselves. Hazrat Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, one of the wives of the Messenger of God, she herself was also a nurse. And the first nurse, according to the religion of Islam, was Rufayda al-Aslamiyya. She was the first nurse, and some are related to Nightingale. But the reality is, from her Hazrat Aisha learned medicine. Women were at the forefront, even in the battlefields, at the time of the Prophet ﷺ. So my dear esteemed and beloved sisters, as just mentioned, do not limit yourselves. Do not feel that you are at the back, or because this beautiful religion of Islam takes women to the highest rank. When we look at Sayyidina Maryam alayhi salam, Allah be pleased with her, what did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say about her? Allah subhanahu equated her to become a believing woman, meaning equated her to the rank of the prophets. In Surah Maryam, this was her status. She was from the Siddiqeen. After prophethood is the Siddiqeen, the truthful ones. And Allah equated her rank with those prophets of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I ask Allah subhanahu to make our sisters be mindful of this, specifically our youthful sisters, our young adults, who are always on the phones, as we just mentioned. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it as a means for them to grow in the best of manner, the most beloved manner in the sight of Islam. Ameen thumma ameen. So inshallah, I'm supposed to give my topic of discussion, but maybe some other time, because it's getting late, and I know some of us are tired, and some of us will be yawning, and if I start here, hey, you guys know how it's going to be, alright? So, just a quick rundown of the gist of the topic, which is supposed to be discussed. As you all know, we are all youths, young and old. We like dancehall. We all like Bob Marley, isn't it? We like Three Little Birds on our doorsteps. You all sing it? Don't worry. Say it. You all know it. Don't act like you all don't know. You all like fish in front of the wall, and that's okay. Fish in front of the wall. Alright? So, the thing about dancehall and intoxicants, it's a thing that makes us feel drowsy. As you all know, I think Gabriel knows as well. Skin, so he sang a song called Vibes. You all know it?
We go to the
So when you take these things and you listen to this music, you feel vibes. Isn't it? When you hear a certain rhythm, your foot start tapping with the drums, with the beats. This is how we feel. And when we have a certain environment that we should be around, and some of us are going to tell us, take this pull, take this sip, take this drink. And this is how it leads up. Start off with the vibes, as Kenya said, the vibes up with this. Alright? So you start to feel that way. And because of this, you start to go astray. And this is why the Prophet ﷺ mentioned to young Abdullah ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him. The Prophet mentioned to young Abdullah ibn Abbas some piece of advice, and Abdullah ibn Abbas has not attained the age of puberty yet. Some of us here, such as Farouk, one of our beginners at our maktab, haven't reached the age of puberty. But look at the advice that the Prophet ﷺ gave to this young boy. We have Darian and Darius here. They're a bit naughty sometimes. They haven't reached the age of puberty. But the Prophet ﷺ says to our young Abdullah ibn Abbas, he says, Ya Ghulamu, O young boy. Why did he address him by the young boy? To captivate his attention. If you want to call to someone, for example, I want to call out to my friend Matthew here. If Matthew has a title that he goes by, that which is he's accustomed to, for example, you say, oh Matt, come, to get his attention so he can come close to you. So the Prophet ﷺ addressed him by saying, Ya Ghulam, O young boy, to captivate him, to bring him that he know that something important is about to be leashed. Something important is about to be informed. The Prophet ﷺ, Ala u'allimuka kalimat. I'm about to teach you some phrases, some words. This boy is not even at the age of puberty. Darius, isn't it? And what are the words of the Prophet ﷺ to this young boy, Abdullah ibn Abbas? Ihfadillah. Be mindful of God Almighty. We as youths today, we are not mindful of God Almighty. As I say, we all in the dancehall, we all in the reggae, all in the hip hop, and those, some of the elder folks, they will know back in the 80s, it's the pop, Madonna, etc., Fleetwood Mac. You all know it? I know too, don't worry. Alright? But this is how we are as youth. We become captivated. So much so in this modern era by all of these things. So what did the Prophet taught this young boy? Be mindful of God. Why did he teach him to be mindful of God? Before he reached the age of puberty. So because when he grow up, he will have this mentality in his mind and in his heart to be wary, to be mindful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Most High is. And I end with this, inshallah ta'ala. Maybe next time I'll continue. You, my Jamaat members, they know me. I can take too long sometimes. So I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make it easy for us. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless us. I ask Allah subhanahu to make us among those, whatever we have learned here from our astonishing and superb youth in our community. Zakim and his beloved sister lives right in this community. Brother Amir, right from Kampu. We have also Dr. Alim Shakur right from Bokal. Our sister right from the compound, Sister Karina, is also right from Monroe. Within our community, we have so much of studious and diligent young people. But where are they? How are we going to bring them out? If we shun them away, if we always find some excuses for them, no one is going to be there. You think Sister Auntie Baksh is going to come all the time to the Masjid? It's for the youth. The Masjid is for the youth. At the time of the Prophet ﷺ, who was around the Prophet ﷺ most of the time was the youth. Who was Ashab al-Sufa, the companions of Sufa, was the youth. Every single companion, most of them, except Hazrat Abu Bakr and Umar, most of them was the youth. Who was the first person to accept Islam? Hazrat Ali. Who was he? A youth. Where are we as youth today? This is the question I leave you with, inshallah. In closing, I could call Gabriel, not the Gabriel from Facebook, yes? Right? So I call Gabriel, inshallah, to make the closing dua for us, inshallah. Shukran jazilan, Brother Gabriel. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless your parents. So now, inshallah ta'ala, we have the adhan call for Isha. We perform Salat al-Isha, and then we come back